Hey guys, Foxy Fern here, and I'm going to join the crowd today in ranting about Overwatch competitive. I will tell you now that it is a complete joke in its current state, and anybody who thinks that competitive rank means you're a good player, unless you're like in the 70s maybe, like the actual pro players, it doesn't mean shit. And here's why. I'll start off with talking about my first 10 placement match games. The first game I enter in, there's some level 92 in there that's playing Torbjorn on offensive Temple of Anubis. And he's talking shit because he's higher level than all the rest of us that are like in our 30s. And thinks that he knows what's up and that Torb is good for attack and we should shut the hell up because we haven't played as much as him. In my second game, I immediately got asked if guy or girl, so back to the days of Dota. For some reason, I hadn't been getting asked that much at all, really if ever, in quick play, because there's been so many women that play this game, which is really cool. But now all of a sudden, the fucking trolls come out of the woodwork and start pissing on me because I'm a female. Like the number of times I've tried to use my microphone, not raging at people or anything, but just talking, trying to, say, hey guys, let's group up, or, I'm gonna switch to this hero because our team comp isn't working. And then people tell me to shut up until my balls drop and stupid shit like that. So anyway, my first 10 placement games, I actually went 6-4, but I was pretty much playing support the whole time because not many other people were doing it, and it seems the best way to win is, at least in the bracket that I'm in, is having either 2 supports or 2 tanks. So I ended up being 48, which isn't really that good, but compared to like pretty much all my other friends except 1 or 2, I was actually way higher than them, which is crazy because I have a lot of friends that I think are quite a bit better than me, and so that right there just shows you it doesn't really have anything to do with your skill. So the first thing, after playing a bunch of competitive matches and finally figuring out how like each map was working, I absolutely hate sudden death. It is the worst thing ever because it's like basically if you are playing on one of the hybrid maps like King's Row or Numbani, and if you get attack on the coin toss, you're basically guaranteed a win because that map is designed to have the control point easier to attack, since generally you still have to escort the payload to the end in order to win. So it's like I could have been playing really well on a team and we actually end up finishing the payload faster than the other team. But since we both ended up finishing it, it goes into sudden death mode. My team loses the coin toss. It's basically GG right then and there. Yes, there is a chance that you can do really well and defend it, but it's like if just even one person on your team dies when you're defending, it's game over because you have such a long ways to run back. If you have a Symmetra that gets lucky enough to get her teleporter up in the first minute, maybe you can still win the match if somebody dies, but I've rarely seen that happen. And for some reason, for me, 3 coin tosses in a row, I have gotten on the shit end of the stick. So, I mean, that's just luck. But I hate that when it comes down to that, the competitive modes are so much based on luck. Like, why can't the game say, oh, hey, this team finished their payload faster than the other one? I don't know. I'm sure it's a lot more complicated than I can sit here and preach about, but it just seems to me like a coin toss is not the right way to do something like that. Maybe if they did no matter what map you were on, maybe the sudden death round would just randomly put you on a control map and you would have to capture 1 point. I think that would be a little bit more fair because then both teams have an equal distance to run back to the point and, you still have to get it to 100%. I don't know. I'm sure it's way more complicated than I'm thinking it is. But the thing that I really hate the most as a person who usually plays support is that if you have a really great game and your team wins, everybody else on your team is gonna get more points than you if you're a support. Because if you're a Mercy on a winning team, you're not gonna be healing people as much or rezzing them because your team is doing better. So on the games when you're doing really bad, you're gonna have a lot more of an effect on the game, but you lose a shit ton of points when you lose. Now, I don't know if you actually lose more points the more involved you were in a losing game, which that would also really suck for healers. But anyway, I know a lot of people have complained about that, so hopefully Blizzard is listening and they'll do something about that. I mean, in that case, it's better to just everybody who wins get the same amount of points no matter, like, what their role was in the game. The last thing that really angers me is that if you're the favored team and you lose a game, you lose like, I don't know, a huge amount, like 3/4 of a level. But if you win the game as a favored team, you only gain a fraction of a level. So assuming you're always on the favored team, which favored is really kind of a gray area because, I mean, we're talking like 1 point or half a point average team higher being favored, which, as we all know, the rating isn't completely true to everybody's skills for some reasons that I already addressed. But anyway, in order to rank up, you have to win like 3 or 4 more games than you lose, assuming you were always on the favored team, which doesn't really feel right, especially if a game is like extremely close and you win it, and then you put all this effort into 5 points of a King of the Hill map or whatever, and you get just a tiny little fraction gain in level. Anyway, those are my thoughts on competitive play. I know I'm not alone in the way that I feel about this right now, and hopefully Blizzard is going to address some of these issues, but I really can't believe that they released competitive in the state that it's in right now. It just seems it's not ready yet. I don't really understand why they did that. But anyway, I'm just going about the rest of this season with the mindset that, hey, your rank doesn't really mean shit. So I'm just going to play competitive when I feel like it and, you know, get my competitive points when I win, and I'm definitely going to be losing a lot more than I'm winning, and I am just going to be okay with that, even though I'm a person who's like a sucker for stats and win-loss ratio. But I'm just going to have to deal with it, especially since I'm usually the one playing support, so I just am pretty much never going to go up in ranks at this point. Well, thanks for listening to my rant, guys. I hope you enjoyed this in one way or another, and let me know what you think about the state of competitive in Overwatch right now in the comments below. Thanks a lot, guys, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.